Pauline Neville-Jones once ran the British Joint Intelligence Committee. She was also the UK's Home Office Minister for Security and Counter-Terrorism. She joins me now here in our London studio. And before we talk about security preparations for the London Marathon, just walk me behind closed doors, as it were, and let's talk to the Boston Marathon. What sort of intelligence will be going across the Atlantic at this point?
Well, obviously, London Marathon is something you prepare for in great detail, both at the intelligence level and the policing level. Now, in the light of what's just happened, obviously one of the things immediately will be that the intelligence services will be in touch with each other about what exactly they can establish about the organisation of this appalling atrocity. And it is an appalling atrocity. And they'll want to know what kind of plot it was, how big a scale. They'll also be extremely interested in communication. It's very obvious, is it not, that you can't organise something on any scale without somehow communicating with people, and that always leaves a trace. Now, if it's an international inspired terrorist attack, then that's one of the early things that you might hope to pick up. If it's domestic, that's probably harder, but that's the kind of indication they'll be looking for. And obviously something that's international will be of greater concern
to London.
To London, yes.
As I watched the events in Boston unfold, I wondered to myself how difficult it must be to be in the security services. One has to assume, as a sort of relatively normal person, that, you know, big crowded events like that will be crowded for all the right reasons. And people are just cheering people. How do you secure 35,000 runners and possibly as many as 500,000 spectators?
Well, you can't have perfect security. I think we all know that. You can obviously mitigate the risk and reduce it. And clearly good intelligence is part of that, knowing whether there's any kind of threat. Now, there wasn't, it would appear, any indication. What they may, of course, in due course discover is that there were indications that they didn't recognise as being such. And that is what intelligence is all about. And then you can be very wise after the event, and there's a frightful blame game. I believe, actually, the intelligence services do a good job, and they are extraordinarily conscientious. So that's one side of things. The other side of it, obviously, is policing. And the police themselves now increasingly have what I would describe as an intelligence role. They're the people who have to listen to Twitter. They're the people who have actually to follow likely organisers' activities if they are about to do something. Now, that is something you would certainly do if you knew there was going to be a demonstration. Tomorrow, with Lady Thatcher's funeral, they'll be doing that.
I was going to ask you about that, because the London Marathon, of course, is on Sunday, but Margaret Thatcher's funeral is tomorrow on Wednesday, and you can get coverage of that here on CNN. I mean, there are likely to be protesters, for example.
There are likely to be protesters, and let us hope that they will be responsible protesters. I mean, it would appear, I think, quite a lot of people will just express their displeasure by turning their back on the hearse as it goes by. I would be surprised, I have to say, if there was anything violent. Nevertheless, the police do have to prepare for that. So they do have actually now, these days, not only to have monitored the scene beforehand, set up the best security arrangements they can, but they have to monitor it absolutely continuously. So real-time monitoring of live events is actually now something that the police have to do, and they have to be prepared and able to move their police forces around.